Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having a good day so far. Today I have another math formula calculator to show you how to build. So today we will be building this distance formula calculator. And if you don't know already, this is something that you use in geometry. So you have your two coordinate pairs. So this is your first coordinate pairs. So let's say I entered in 3 for my x and 5 for my y, and 7 for my x2, and maybe 2 for my y2, and then click calculate. It's going to give me my answer. It's going to do x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1, and then whatever the result of that sum is, it's going to take the square root of that sum. So let's start. First thing I will do is I'm going to get rid of all this code, and now I just generated my boilerplate code, so I can create a container and give an ID of container. I'll create a div and give an ID of container. And then I'll create an h1, give an ID of heading. And this will say distance formula heading. Not heading, calculator, my bad. And then I'm going to create 2 inputs. Well, I'm going to create 2 more, but this is for our first pair. So type will be number. Type will be number, and then this will be x1, so I'll type x1 for its ID. This is y2, and the placeholder, it's just going to say x1. Placeholder equals x1, and then for this one the placeholder will be, you guessed it, y. So now if we refresh, we have our h1 and our 2 inputs right here, and I don't know why my mouse is shaking so much. Sorry if that's bothering you. Normally it doesn't do that, but today it is. I don't know why though. But anyways, let's continue on. So I'll give this input an ID of x2, and then placeholder of x2 as well, and type will be number, and another input, and I'll give an ID of y2, placeholder of y2, type will be number, and then I can create a div, and this will display our answer on the screen. And underneath that div, I'm going to create a button and give an ID of button, since that's the only button we'll be using, and I'll call it calculate. And now that's pretty much all we need for our HTML. We can get started with our CSS. So the first thing I'm going to style is my container div. So I'll type container and give it a border of 2 pixels solid black. And you can change some of the values because you don't have to go with mine. It's going to be your calculator, so you can make it look the way you want it to look, not the way I'm making it look. And then I'll do display flex, justify content, center, align items, center as well, flex direction. It's going to be column. So that should fix this right here. Yep. So now everything's on top of each other like a tower, like a column, which is why this says flex direction column. And then transform, I'm going to make everything 2 times bigger, so scale 2. And now this is what we have. Don't worry, we'll move it down so it's not cut off. And then width 25%, margin auto, just to center it, center the container. And then I'll do position relative and move it away from the top 200 pixels and give it a padding of 20 pixels. And now it looks awesome. And for our heading, I'll give it a color of red, text decoration, underline, and I'm going to put in the center. So I'm going to type text align center. There's also other values like justify end or something like that, but I'm just going to use center. And for our placeholder, I'm going to style it by typing input, then the 2 colons, sort of like when you're creating pseudo elements. And then I'm going to type placeholder, so it's selecting all of our placeholders, and then text align will be center. So now it's no longer at the sides, at the edge of our input, it's at the center. And for our button, I'm just going to give it a border radius of 10 pixels to round it off at the edges a little bit. And then position relative, top 10 pixels. And if you want to get really creative and decorative, you can even give the button a little bit of a shadow to it. You can give it a background color of, I don't know, cyan, then box shadow 005 pixel cyan, and then you can copy this down like this. Whoa, what just happened? Okay, let me try that one more time. Copied it and then paste it like that. This will be 100, this will be 50, and this will be 25. And now we have our glowing button. That's if you want to do that, but you don't have to. Anyways, I might as well keep it since I typed that already. And then button hover. When you hover over it, the background color will change to gray. And I know this might not be the best looking calculator you've ever seen, but at least it'll be helpful for you whenever you need it in math class. So now when you hover over it, it's going to turn gray, indicating that you hovered over it. And then, let me format this a little better. And then when you click on the button, it's going to be called focus. So when you click on it, it's going to have a background color of yellow. And then outline none, because look, I'll show you what I mean. So when you click on it, you see the rectangular box around it? We don't want that, so I'm going to do outline none. So when we click on it, the outline goes away. Now you don't see the outline anymore. And I forgot to give my button a border radius, border of 1 pixel solid black, so that it doesn't have that grayish black background. It's just one color. That looks much better. And now that we're done with our CSS, we can start working with the JavaScript. So I'll create a variable called button and store my button. I'm going to grab it from the HTML, just like that. And then I'll give that button an event listener. And I'm going to create a lot of variables, starting with x1 equals document.getElement by ID, x1.value, and I'm going to copy this down 3 more times, like that. And this will be y1, this will be x2, this will be y2, and we have to change the ID as well. So this is y1, x2, y2. And if you know the formula, it's x2. So I'm gonna comment this. So it's x2 minus x1 plus the difference of y2 minus y1. And then once you get the answer of that, you'll just take the square root of it, square root of that result from step 1. So this right here is step 1. And we'll just keep that there as a note for us. So now I'm going to create another variable called var x difference. And difference just means subtract in math. I'll do var x difference equals math.abs. So it's going to take the absolute value of x2 minus x1. So it doesn't matter if you get positive 5 or negative 5. It's always going to come out as 5, because absolute value just tells you how far a number is from 0 on a number line. And then y difference, same thing, except this time it's for y. So it's y2 minus y1. And then I'll create 3 more variables, 4 more maybe, and give this one a name of x difference squared. So now I'm going to use another built-in JavaScript method called math.pow, which is math.power for short. It's going to raise our variable to the second power, so it's exponential. X difference, and then I'll type 2, so it's going to raise it. It's going to multiply it by itself 2 times. Then I'll do y difference squared. Make sure you spell everything correctly, because I'm creating some pretty long variable names. You can make it shorter so it's easier to read and less likely to make errors. And then math.pow y difference, and raise it to the second power just like that. And the sum of it, it's going to be x difference squared plus y difference squared. Then I'll do var result equals math.square root. Then I'll get our result, our answer div. So document.getElement by ID. The ID is answer. Inner HTML equals the answer is plus result. So now let's test it out since we're done. So I'll just enter in some numbers. It could be anything. Okay, something's not working. I must have misspelled something. I'm gonna go check my console. Yep, there's 3 errors. This is the handy thing about console, because it tells you where you messed up, so you don't have to spend a lot of time looking for that. So it says cannot read property of null at HTML button element. So this is at line 70. So where's line 70? Right there. So I typed document.getElement by ID. Okay, I did that correctly, but okay, I see what I did wrong. That's because I typed y2 in two different places. Variables can have only one unique name. So this should have been y1. So now, yes, it works now. I'll enter in maybe 3, 5, 7, 6, 7, and here's our answer. And if you want to, you can even round it so you won't get a trail of decimal numbers. And yeah, this is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to go check out my other videos. And if you found this project useful, please make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on more videos just like this. And other than that, I hope you guys have a nice day, and I hope to see you again in my next video.